Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Just Another Talk. As you can see from the thumbnail, gonna jump right in it. I was actually sent this video by a young lady. She wanted to know what I thought about this young woman's thought process. So I figured, instead of watching the video before I react, I figured I'd watch it on camera and give you guys a live review. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Risk assessment where the risk of being essayed by a man you feel is outweighs the risk of potential attack from the bear.
A bear is in its natural habitat. If you're not messing with it, it's probably most likely just gonna wander off. A man stuck in a forest with you is gonna come to his, what does he want, you know? You don't know how stuck we are in the forest.
Sure. So then I guess the question is, what percentage of men then do you think would be inclined to victimize you?
I don't know, but you said a random man, and there was men that got lost in a forest and essayed a lizard. So
What? How do you essay?
Hail and well met.
What the fuck?
Lol Paladins donated $100.02.
Come in, bro.
Missed the last 3 hours of the show. Very disappointed
well
to
met,
learn
lizard.
the hottie does actually speak English. Much like every other female guest
Disappointed.
ever, the more they open their mouth, the less I
Damn.
like them.
You're disappointed to learn she speaks
Well,
English.
she's been okay.
Yeah, she's
Like
been
what-
she's been good.
Yeah, she
she's
hasn't
been
really
based.
said. You're out of line here, Lil Paladin.
Out of
she
line.
hasn't really said anything.
Out of line.
She hasn't said anything that's deranged.
Get
or-
out of here. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lil Paladin. Thank you, Lil Paladin. So men essay lizards?
there's like a
How do you
article-
even
an article on that.
What kind of
Well,
lizard?
In all fairness, I did look this story up, and it is true. There's a story about multiple gentlemen in India who did this, and so it's a Vice story. It's four men gang, killed and ate a protected monitor lizard. The incident took place on March 28th. At the Sayadri, I don't know how to say that, tiger reservoir in western India state of, we're not doing that either. The forest camera traps meant for tracking tigers caught the accused men trespassing the reserve's Kandoli National Park. Forest officials arrested the men between April 1st and 5th, found photos and videos on their phones of them gang, a monitor lizard and then killing it and eating it. Yeah, that's crazy. It is India. They do wild shit in countries like that. I mean, I get it. I just don't think that's the norm, so I'm confused why she even brought that up. And this was April 18th of 2022 was when this report came out.
I have never seen a crime like this. Division Forest Officer Vishal Mali told Vice News. The men are in their 20s and 30s and appear to have done it for fun. There was no religious or black magic agenda. Never seen a crime like this, meaning it's so uncommon and so out there that it essentially never happened.
Obviously, we didn't look all the way through the article. I just read the beginning portions, but same thought process I had. It was a norm where guys are going out and doing this. There'd be a bigger problem in society. Not to mention it is a third world country. We live a different lifestyle.
Okay.
They're like this long.
So what percentage of men do you think would essay?
I definitely don't think if I was stranded in the forest with a random man that he would protect me the whole time we're stranded there.
Okay.
What do you think he would do?
How about wait, hold on. I want to actually get an answer to the question.
What was the question?
Percentage.
What percentage of men do you think would choose to attack you in this scenario? Because it's like random men, right? So
Probably 80% of men.
80.
Like, if you think about how long am I stranded in this forest with
I think
him?
you're overthinking it.
Let's say you're stranded there for 2 years. Just say you're stranded there for 2 years with him.
Unless it was that guy that was celibate for 17 years.
You think 8 in 10 men. 8 in 10 men.
Exactly. Like, so, okay. Now I'm starting to see why I might have got sent this video. But 80% of get like, first off, I think this hypothetical of the would you rather be stuck in the forest with a man or a bear? I think everyone would always pick a man over a bear. I understand, there are not so pleasing men out there and men who do dumb shit and the extreme, right? Not all men are deviants or can't control their dark side, as you may say, for the lack of a better term. I'm not even going to necessarily be upset at her or even annoyed with her point of view. I'm more thinking, okay, what have you been through that has made you think like this, one? And also, what have the women in your life who've come before you, what if they told you about men? What if they conditioned you to believe about men? Because I don't think she comes to this thought process alone. Regardless of how many hypotheticals you want to use, this thought process is scary to think that she might represent a part of the population, right? She might represent some section of women, regardless of how big or small, but she may represent some section of women that literally feel like this, and that essentially in any scenario where it's a hypothetical, you're catastrophizing and using extremes to define said scenario or to define a whole other section of society. I think that's scary. It also speaks to the time that we're living in where people just kind of, hey, this is my truth, this is what I think, and I think this, despite of how much evidence you could bring to them or how much you can actually oppose their argument with facts and fair points that they can't, fight back with or articulate with, right? So let's keep watching. I don't want to completely go crazy on her, but let's see what else she says.
Yeah, men are scary.
What SAU? 8 and 10.
Men are scary.
Okay.
Hillary Epstein donated $99. Bye-bye, it's bedtime. LOL.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you for that, Hillary Epstein. Thank you. Hope you have a wonderful night. 80%. What's the population? Population of adult males USA.
About, I think, roughly 140 million.
So do you think?
Okay, let's just say out of 10 men, like 8 of them, I'm pretty sure if you were to just spawn them in the middle of the forest, like you're saying, like 8 out of those 10 men would probably...
Would essay a woman.
Yeah.
If you spawn me in the middle of the forest with a random chick and I'm lost and I come upon her, the first thing in my mind is not to get my rocks off. Like, what the fuck? I'm lost in the forest, okay? I didn't grow up. I'm a city kid. I can handle myself. But being lost in the forest, like, I'd be more worried about, like, how I'm going to eat, where I'm going to sleep, how long it's going to be till I find civilization, like, other animals, actual shit that can actually hurt me. That's what I'm going to be worried about. Not, like, I run into a woman, like, and she's lost, I'm going to be like, hey, like, you want to work together? And if she's like, no, pound sand, all right, well, I'm going this way. You go whatever way you want, At the end of the day, I don't see, I don't see the thought process where you can just attribute immediate negative consequences in a situation where the first thing through your mind should be thinking about the problem, not how, like, oh my God, a man, he's gonna hurt me. Like, what? Like, why would a random guy hurt you? Random men aren't out here hurting women. Don't get me wrong. There are situations where guys are too much. There are situations where guys do too much. And there's obviously criminal offenses and things that happen that I don't want to speak of, right? Because I don't want YouTube to censor me or demonetize the video. But we all understand the reality of it. Yes, there are bad things. But can we say that they happen at the rate that she's trying to tell us? or impose, I feel like she's really fear mongering. Like 8 out of 10 guys. Let's keep going.
Or murder them.
Yeah.
So, your family members and the male family members of your boyfriend, they also, so 8 out of 10 of your male family members would do this too?
Unfortunately,
Giovanni JD donated
Yeah, I'd probably say
$100.
Wow.
I loved the girl on the right's reaction to the lizard sex, but they were desperate in the wild.
what?
The girl on
These
the right
comments
reactions
are
to the lizard
so
sense, but they were
random.
desperate for that lizard.
So 8 and 10 of the men in your family would essay women in the forest, if they could.
I can think of a handful of men in my family that
No, that's not what we asked. 8
disgusting.
and 10. 8 and 10. You said 80%. That's 8 and 10.
I don't
That means
know
out
more
of
than-
all, so think of 10 males in your family, 10. 8 of them are going to essay a chick in the forest.
I don't know more than like 5 men in my family.
Okay, well, let's just take 5
It's
then.
4 out of 5.
4 and 5.
It's 80%.
4 out of the 5 men that you do know in your family are going to essay.
That's what I love about numbers. Doesn't matter what scenario you put down, numbers are numbers. Oh, I only know 5. 4 out of 5 is 80%.
Would that include your father?
No, he passed away, so I'm not counting him. He's not alive.
Wait,
Okay,
so how
but
about
you
this?
can envision him, right?
Yeah.
So
Would you do
can
it?
talk
No.
How about this framing?
Okay, brother,
No.
cousin.
Yeah.
How many cousins are you envisioning? 5?
That's
No,
real
2.
specific.
Okay, so there we have it. So where do the other 3 come from?
Uncle, grandfather, great grandfather.
So your great grandfather, your grandfather, your uncle, and your 2 cousins are all going to essay a chick if they're in the forest, really?
I could see that possibly happening.
Wow.
Oh, well, are they or aren't they?
Wow.
Yeah, depending
Yeah.
on the.
Early in the video, I said, who are you around, right? And I specifically spoke to the women who she's around. But now that I hear that, the men, are you speaking about men in this format because you had something happen to you? Or there's a guy in your family that is, shitty person, for lack of a better term, right? For, YouTube guidelines, I can't say other words, right? POS. Did something happen to you for you to think that this guy who's either your cousin, uncle, and you said grandfather and great grandfather, you could see them doing this? Like, I'll never discount her experience, because if that's how she feels, that's her reality. I understand that. But this is a scary thought process to look at as a man, to think that any woman could think like this. Now, in all fairness to all women, I don't think very many women think like this. I genuinely don't think very many women think like this. I really think that we're seeing this now because of the internet and because we have access to so much information so fast. You get to see so many different opinions. But regardless, knowing that this is out there, it could grow momentum. And I could walk past a woman who feels like this. That's troubling hearing that. Because as a man who I would like to believe I'm a man's man, I do things in a manner where I'd never hurt anyone who didn't pose a threat to me first. I've never been pushy or disrespectful with a woman. I've tried to be as gentleman as possible. If she says no, or if I approach and it's not received well, I don't push. I walk away. If I ever have seen a woman needing help, I've asked if you need help. Again, to hear these things really is scary, because then that means, like, when I have an interaction with a random woman and I'm a black guy with my hands tatted, a bunch of tattoos, are you worried? Or is it a little bit more subjective that if you're attracted to me, then those worries go away? Again, I'd have a lot of questions for her. I'd have a lot of questions for this thought process. Ladies, I call out to y'all. I think it's really up to y'all to really police some of these thought processes, especially when it comes to women who've had bad experiences with men. I 100% agree and understand that there are men who are horrible and, aren't men. Those are boys. We'll call them boys, right? But we need to differentiate a boy from a man, because if not, you do a disservice not only to the real men, but then you also do a disservice to the women who come behind you, who are watching your example.
The circumstances, I could possibly see that happening.
So if you,
So I just want to make sure your grandfather is a artist. He's
I
a
said
rape.
great-grandpa.
Your grandfather.
I said great-grandfather.
Well, no, you said your great grandfather
three
and
of
And I
your
corrected
grandfather.
myself, great-grandfather.
Yeah, okay. You said your great grandfather and your grandfather.
Okay.
It's semantics. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
Let's move.
I don't have a grandpa. I have a great-grandpa, but I just
You have
No,
that.
I'm pretty sure it's biologically impossible for you to not have a
I
grandpa.
don't know my grandpa.
Okay.
Just 'cause you don't know
your
him
two
doesn't mean you
cousins
can't
for
have
sure
one.
they're going to R-word a chicken for us no matter what.
Melonova
Yeah, I did see
donated
that.
$100.
These comments.
Andrew, good faith question. If a man told his wife to kiss the ground literally every step he took through the house, would that be cool since she has to submit? Or is there a threshold? What is it?
quick response to
The
this.
threshold
What?
has to comply with reason, so no, that
Right?
would be unreasonable. I
Exactly.
can actually express why that would be unreasonable. But anyway, back to this, this kind of back and forth here. I just want to make sure both of your cousins are R-wordists. They're both essayists. I just want to make sure that I hear it from you that you're 100% positive. They're definitely going to be against her will taking that chick in the forest, right?
Not against her will, but that doesn't.
Well, why do I hang on? Wait, how could
That's
it be?
what it is.
Because there's
How could they be
also, like-
essaying her if it's not against her will?
Because there's like
Exactly.
SA that isn't like the type you're referring to, where it's like you
Oh,
kind
like
of
what?
just
Like, right?
make
What would
it
they do
happen.
that would essay her? What do you think they would do?
I'm pretty sure all of the girls here have been in uncomfortable situations where
Yeah. So answer my question. I don't care about what you think other girls in the room have been through. What would they do to women in the forest? What would they do?
I'm just gonna stand by that. I think 8 out of 10 men would do that.
Yeah, I don't care what you're going to stand by. What would they do? You just said that they would essay
What
women
would you
in the
do if you were
forest. What
stuck
would
in
they
a forest
do?
with a woman that wasn't your wife?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you?
I
you
mean,
wouldn't-
maybe like ask her to, I don't know, sharpen a stone. Like,
Okay, she
To
didn't
help.
want
Gather
to do. She didn't want to.
firewood.
She didn't want to
Team
do
up.
anything like that. Would you think about maybe?
I would
Okay, I
just
need to
abandon
eat.
her.
Exactly.
If she
Walk the fuck
refused
away.
to assist in her
Small Sutton
survival situation.
donated $200. A woman right now on X is trending. She has a mold of her husband's Pierce's urn. Unfortunately, he passed this a cool idea for a man. Are these popular? Would you buy one for your husband's/B?
Hang on, I want to finish this real quick before we get into that. So
Let's just have the
real-
girls here, really quick. Just show of hands. Would you be cool with this? Would you do it?
To what?
Hail and well met. Lol Paladins
that's
donated
a no. It's a no.
$100 and
No hand
2
raises.
cents.
Thank you, Lol
This
Paladins.
scamming prostitute is so messed up with her genetics. She herself would likely essay and take advantage of anyone she runs across that is weaker than herself. Because that is what she already does.
I wasn't a prostitute. Let's just make that
Okay.
clear.
So I would, well, yes, I think stripping is prostitution, but I guess we can leave that for right now. I would like to dive into your question. Your question was, what would I do if I was with a woman in the forest? Well, I would try to reason with her and say, listen, if we're going to have the best shot, we need to work together to get out of here. And then after assessing the situation, I would probably give her some tasks to do. If she refused to do the tasks, then I would likely
can't stay
abandon her so that I could get out of the fucking forest.
Simple.
Past
You
your,
don't want to help? Goodbye.
or you could just stay for the rest of the show.
Do you need to go get some insure?
Yes, I do.
Yo.
It is past my bedtime.
Yo.
These old hags gotta
Yeah.
get
Oh
going.
my God.
You said
Well,
10.
we're not going to go
I
for
gotta
too much
wheel away on
longer.
my wheelchair right now.
Not going to go for too much longer here, guys. Let's just finish the show.
I have a question on this. So, do you want to have kids?
I have one, but yeah, I want to have more.
Is your kid a boy or a girl?
That's a girl.
Now, do you want to have more kids?
Yeah,
It's possible you'll have 1, 2. How many more kids do you want?
like 2 more.
2 more kids. So if they're both sons, you're willing to say that under your roof of raising them, they have an 80% chance of becoming.
No.
What?
Why
What
not?
makes you
Because-
stand apart from all the other women who are raising men
There's
to
a-
become 80% chance of being grapists, but what percent chance, if you had to put a number to it, what percent chance will your sons be grapists?
I would
50-50,
raise
or-
them with like real core values in like a Christian household.
But I thought it seems like you're making the argument that this is just something that's innate in men. They were inclined to essay women.
Yeah, if you had 10 sons, you're saying that 10 of them are going to be grapists, by the way. 10. Or I'm sorry, if you had 10 sons, you're saying 8 would be grapists. If it's 80%, 10. Sorry, I mean 8 out of the 10.
I mean, this
Hypothetical?
It would be hypothetical.
Yeah, this hypothetical. I mean, you're not really giving any like anything except the fact that you're spawning us randomly in a forest,
Nope, we are giving you
and
something.
it's a random man. Yeah, I would rather
Nope,
pick
that's
a
incorrect. We
bear
are giving
over-
you something. We asked you, how many men do you think in that situation would do this type of thing? You said 80%.
But this was
Based
after
on that,
I
we
stated
can
that.
extrapolate. If it's 80%, that would encompass all men. If that is true, that all men at the level of 80% would essay a chick in the forest, then that would mean that 8 out of the 10 of the children you could potentially have would be rapists if they were men.
You could.
I'm just going based off of the original question, which was a bear or a man. Which I would think.
Yeah,
okay,
but
maybe
you
not
had
like
reasoning
80%.
for why you chose a bear.
Yeah, I would just
And your
feel
reasoning was
safer
because you
with a
said
bear that's in
80%
its
of
natural
men,
habitat.
80% of men grape. That was your reasoning. If that is true, then you're admitting
I'm
that
also
8 out of
thinking
10 of
in,
the
like, a
men in your
secular
household are
men.
rapists.
I'm also thinking of like secular men because that's kind of like the headspace I'm in right now in this podcast area.
Wow, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I'm not here. I don't care about. Okay, that's what you think. Fine, that's fine. Your reality isn't necessarily the reality that's experienced by the general population. You could be in the extreme, and that's okay. That happens, right? What I want to point out the most is, how did she get here? This wasn't a thought process she had on her own. This wasn't something that just so happened to pop up. It's something that this is an idea you truly believe in. I feel like this thought process only comes about if you're in an environment where this is happening, has happened. That's why I continue to say, all right, I won't discount her thought process and how she feels about it, because she could be in the extreme. But in general terms, men, not boys, real men are not out here trying to hurt women. You know, there's too much shit to deal with outside of that. Not to mention it's wrong. And, you know, as a man, if you have some kind of morals, you're not gonna do that.
Have you been essayed by 80% of the men that you've encountered?
I've been verbally like sexually harassed. Yeah.
By 80% of men.
If I go outside, yes. That's
So-
why I personally didn't want to come here by myself. My boyfriend's outside. Like,
But so
I don't
even
like leaving my house alone.
even if I grant, okay, so even if we consider catcalling within this, 80% of men catcall you. 80%.
it's not just catcalling like verbally. It's
Okay,
the looks.
here.
It's the
80%.
Innuendos.
So hold on.
How do you get an
Catcalling
innuendo
and then like
from a
everything
look?
worse than catcalling. 80% of men do that.
less now that I only go outside with my boyfriend. Yeah. But
What's-
when I go outside alone, yeah,
It's 80% of men.
yeah. When I would go out
So
to
if
LA.
you go out, so just like going to Trader Joe's, 80% of the dudes, yo, what's up?
I've literally been in the Starbucks line and gotten catcalled from
Sure.
like outside. No, like in the drive-through.
Was it 80% of the men in the Starbucks?
It was in the parking lot. That's
Was
like
it? No. Fine. Yes, it happened. One guy at Starbucks said that. Was it 80% of the men?
Exactly.
You need to be consistent here.
That's the
it's
thought.
just like the fact that
See how
like
she smiles?
from my view, yes,
Sure, it happens.
80% of men are dogs in the
80% of
secular
men.
world. Yes.
So, but 80% of the men that you see at Trader Joe's, Starbucks, wherever,
Yeah, I can't keep going. I can't do this no more. She also describes SA. I want to be cautious with what I say next because I don't want anyone to misinterpret me or take me out of context. SA is not a joke. That's not something to play with. It's not okay. It's not right. It's beyond wrong. And any man who does that, that's not a man, okay? All men with a moral compass can stand in solidarity and say, SA is no good. That's just not happening around me. To her point about looks and an innuendo from a look, this is an extreme. This is just somebody who lives in their head and believes, oh my God, he's looking at me, he wants to SA me. That's how I look at that. Unfortunately, we're living in a time where, because she may have a nice body or looks good, she has the ability to influence a lot of people, or I should say a lot of young ladies, with how she thinks. To me, that's scarier than her thought process. Because you can have whatever thought process you want, but the moment you begin acting on it, and the moment you begin talking to others about it, I think there's a problem. And specifically just in this scenario, because I don't think this kind of thing happens with men, where like a guy doesn't have a thought process that's crazy, and then other men who know he's crazy aren't challenging. In this video, you see a lot of the women aren't saying anything. They aren't defending her. They aren't agreeing with her. But still, again, minimal pushback. In case you didn't know, all the women there are some type of OnlyFans or, strippers or, sex workers, I guess is the term. They see inherently, because of the industry they're in, they may see the worst in men. And so I can look at things from that perspective and understand why she might have this point of view, but that doesn't mean her point of view is correct. And like I said before, I just think it's a dangerous perspective. If you think about men like that and you influence other young ladies to think about men like that, which we already know the culture we're in, and a lot of the things that you see on the internet are geared negatively towards men already. Now you're presented with a situation where if we get in a man's shoes, a real man's shoes, not a boy, not a guy who's gonna do something stupid, but if you put yourself in a real man's shoes, it's a landmine field for him to navigate. Hey, can I even speak to this young lady? Can I even do anything? And then that kind of brings me to a little bit of a different point. But I always hear, oh, chivalry's dead. Chivalry's dead. And it's like things like this, ideas like this, thought process like this, I think kill chivalry. And it pins men and women against each other, when in all true reality, we are complementary items who should be coming together. A discussion like this is important to be had. And then not only had, but also women, y'all gotta do your part. When one of your girlfriends says some nonsense, you gotta check that. And same thing with guys. I think guys do that better. We may not do that for everything, but we do that better. And so that's kind of what I got from the video. And I want to make sure that I'm extremely clear. Like, SA is inappropriate. It's not okay at all. Never, no matter who it happens to, but specifically a man on a woman. Like, a woman is a delicate flower. It's supposed to be taken care of by her man. Now women are definitely capable and can do a lot of things, and they have their place where they are extremely strong and can get things done, and just like men have their place where they're extremely strong and proficient. And so we just got to learn those boundaries and be okay with them. I don't understand what's so bad about being okay with them, and some people aren't, and that's okay too. But the attack on wanting something, I think, is what's really causing a lot of the chaos. I want to know what you guys think. You agree with the thought process? Do you disagree? Ladies, are you one of the ladies that checks their friends when they say something crazy? Or are you more of a, no, I kind of agree with her kind of gal? And if you are, I want to hear it. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. Let's hear it. Put it in the comments. Guys, don't forget the merch store is open. We got some stuff up there. Go get you some merch. You see the hats. You see what we're doing. You see the hoodies. We're going to have some more stuff posted in the next couple weeks. And we have some podcast episodes, some new ones dropping. So stay tuned. I think it's time we start setting some goals around here. Help me get this up to 1,000 subscribers. If you like the content, subscribe, go to the merch store, buy something, share it, post it on Facebook, IG, Twitter, all of them.